Welcome to the Isle. Triceratops, the face with 3 horns. Now that everyone and their mothers are going rampant with Rexes and allos, I decided that I would grow a trike, preferably to Prime Elder. Server choice was Islander semi-realism because rules and guaranteed to not have any hackers or cheaters that are most likely still infesting the official servers. I could have gone to fast grow server, but I wanted to have a little bit more time to experience the true terrors of growing a herbivore in an environment that is full of carnivores. Reason why I choose Trike is because A, I wanted to grow big herbivore that can actually fight against Rexes and allos. B, I have plenty of experience with Stego and very little with the Trike. So here we are as a little potato, armed with tiny stubs that barely resemble the magnificent horns adult will yield in the fields, let alone the massive ones Prime Elder has. And first thing I needed to do was to run as fast as I could to the nearest sanctuary and fatten up this little potato with plenty of nutrients for the future. I usually don't choose my mutation right away because I tend to die a lot in the start and you have plenty of time to choose it before you hit 50%. The problem I have with the trike is I tend to use the trash attack instead of quick headbutt. So I practiced on the way to the sanctuary. You know, get a feeling of the trike. I haven't played Dipple either, so I needed to check out what to do in case I bump into anything. The food on a little trike hardly drops, so you better ingest some gastrolytes to speed up the process. Well, everybody knows this, but it is the best way to grow in Sanctuary. Just keep ingesting gastrolytes and eating the mushrooms, and eventually you will get to close to 300 or even to 300% nutrient boost. I usually smell around the sanctuary to see how many bodies there are and if there's any like big back warnings on the compass. This particular sanctuary is one of the most anxiety inducing ones because it is very open, so it's easier for a little bit bigger animals to wander around the sanctuary and snatch up some babies for snackies. For my first mutation, I decided to go with zero goal adaptation to get some water when eating plants, so I'm not endangering myself by going to watering holes to get water, because there could be always a Dano to snatch me up. I think it's one of the coolest mutations and I tend to pick it up. I was hearing a lot of noises and I was worried that there is a carnivore nearby. So I stayed very still, listening for any sounds. I did hear a Herrera around and that also worried me. And then I heard the little Rex sound and I was like, maybe could fight that off if it comes, but I rather become a pawn. Then I heard a very reassuring sound, which was another trike. So I said hello and noticed that there were plenty of us. So I figured I'd come out of my hiding spot and try to find the other trikes and group up. There's safety in numbers after all. The first friendly shaped potato I found was Mystic Chaz. So we grouped up. And I heard the other ones were grouping up as well. As I was trying to start a small talk with the other trike, we got hit by a Herrera missile. And I of course used trash, even though I didn't wanna. It was pure panic. And the Herrera got its kill. And for a second my instincts kicked in and I attacked it. And as soon as I did that, I realized, oh yeah, this is semi-realism. There's a body down rule. I made a big mistake. I switched to global and apologized to the Herrera, aka DVD in this case. Sorry DVD, I'm very sorry. I completely forgot for a second where I was playing. That's what you get when you mostly play in officials. You tend to forget that community servers have their own rules. Not all of them have body down rules, but obviously this one has. Luckily the Herrera didn't report me. I'm very grateful for that. And I grouped up with Adam and Bagan. So sorry to Mystic Chaz that your life was very short, and hopefully the next try was a little bit better. And I stayed in the sanctuary with the others, just ingesting gastrolites, eating mushrooms, rinse and repeat until I was too big for the sanctuary. The obvious choice at the moment was get to the migration zone because it was the closest. There was also a patrol zone very close, but I went there briefly, so I figured might as well go to the migration zone and move from there. Adam started to follow me. I don't know why, but I was pleased to have some company on my exploration. The main goal was to get to the south, and from south to swamp, and from swamp I would gradually backtrack to Highlands, kinda, and then go to the north. We arrived to the migration zone and I was ready to go and get some real food when I heard a Rex. And any player with common sense knows to turn around and go to the opposite direction from where you heard the sound coming from, especially if it's a carnivore that is definitely bigger than you. I still needed some food before we could continue towards south, so I decided to go for the food and just use my best friend, which is line of sight. If they can't see you, they can't hunt you. That's why line of sight is your best friend in any game. But as we were eating, I heard a lot of other carnivores that made me a little bit itchy to move along to the south already. As we were moving from south jungle towards the plains, we were greeted by adult Rex or prime Rex Paleocall. Oh goody. But it sounded fairly far away, so I wasn't too scared of it. And I had been playing long enough, so I decided just to get to the plains, find a suitable bush and log out. On my second day, I wanted to get full on nutrients at the South Plains and then move on towards the swamp. I was going towards the water because I kept hearing Tenos, and I figured I'd go and say hello to them when I saw it, and my blood froze. A darn big white Rex. And it was stalking the Tenos, definitely. Suddenly, I didn't want to go there. I was like, well, I bet they can manage. They're faster. They can just run away from the massive white blob that is the Rex. And if it actually manages to ambush one of the Tenos, it is really good at staying out of sight with that freaking cannibalistic skin that sticks out like a sore thumb. As I was going to the path towards the swamp, I saw it again, the sore thumb. I did hear some warning calls from the Tenos earlier, but I bet it couldn't snatch one of them, so it was still prowling around. And of course going towards the place where I needed to go to get out of this freaking area. Splendid! I was still going towards the path to swamp and trying to keep my eye on the both sides to maybe see the big white Rex or maybe something else on the woods, because I have kept hearing a sub-Rex in the area as well. Then I heard some rustling and then I saw it. Roughly the same size as me. First I was gonna run away, then I knew I couldn't because I am not fast enough. Sub-Rex is quite fast, so I had to stand my ground and attack it. We even got to the sparring. And I was happy about this. I haven't really sparred with the Rex. And then Rex decided, oh, this is enough for me. So I changed it a little bit. You know, to show dominance. Then I heard something and there was a dibble behind me. I don't know about the rules that much, so I don't know if it could have even helped me. I don't think so, but correct me in the comment section if it could have helped me. While I followed the dibble, as I was happy to have any company at the moment, we had no idea the sore thumb was stalking the dibble. Poor guy had no chance. And I just ran. I know it's horrible to say, but I was just happy that it was the dibble the Rex wanted and not me. What is equally terrifying as nighttime in the Isle Evrima? Well, thick fog and thunder. Or rain, because the rain muffles a lot of sounds and the fog makes it hard to see. And believe me, when I heard those freaking stumps behind me, I was shitting myself. I was like, oh no, that sounds big, I need to go. As I was sitting in a bush waiting the weather to clear up, I kept hearing very concerning sounds around me. There were Tenos and something big. I guess the sore thumb was still stalking them. As I listened, in horror, it got one of them. I wanted to wait to hear it start eating, but I figured it must have gotten one of them. Must have. So this was my window to leave. And the thunderstorm conveniently muffled my scared footsteps that were fading away from that nightmarish scene that happened to the poor Tenos. For my second mutation, I took tactile endurance. This is one of my favorite mutations as well, because it can really help you in a pinch. Ah, almost there. I could almost taste the plants covered in swampy moistness. Delicious. Oh wait, what is that? A tiny morsel? And of course it tries to attack me. I don't know what's with Omni players, but you guys are very, very cocky and annoying. You're not immortal, even though it's hard to land a hit on you because you're so tiny. And I was just trying to run to the swamp. I needed food. I wasn't scared of the Omni. I didn't really care about it. It was like a mosquito just hovering around and just giving these little nipples that did barely anything to me. The most damage that Omni did was to my already low food, because I had to stop and fight this tiny dumbass. First I thought, I'm just gonna act nonchalant and go towards the foods. I don't really care if it bounces me, but at the same time I was planning on attacking it with alt attack. That usually gets the Omnis. Oh yeah, and I kept accidentally using the trash. I really think they need to change that. It's just so easy to accidentally use the trash instead of headbutt. And it's kind of frustrating, I have to admit. Because I'm one of those people who usually double click. I don't know why, but I do. As you can see. So yeah. All the Omni players out there, if you're fighting a creature that is, I don't know, 30 times of your weight, what is with you? Why do you want to do that? It's just completely useless. It's gonna take forever to kill that creature. Especially as a freaking juvie Omni. What are you doing with your life? Are you just planning to be annoying to everyone? I don't know. But this Omni was starting to grind my gears. That's why I kept spamming into attacks, because I was like, one point I will land a hit. And I did. The swamp had treated me well. I have gotten much needed gamma diet from the mushrooms, but it was time to say goodbye to the old mossy home, as I was getting bigger and I needed better food. So I turned my merry horns towards the Highlands. I would go the side of Highlands, through the water axis, and then to north. I stopped at the side of the Highlands for much needed food. They had added the interaction assistance, and it was driving me nuts. It wouldn't work on some bushes, it was really hard to get it to work, but it was blessing this time, because if it would have worked, I would not notice that allo trying to ambush me. I was so lucky that it didn't get the first attack. One tip for you, smaller trikes, sub-adult trikes, etc. When you're fighting an opponent that can bounce you or even pin you, use bushes so they have a hard time to know where your head is and where you're turning. They can hear you turning, but they don't know which way you are turning if they cannot see you that well. I choose to be a little bit more aggressive now and then to try and land a first hit. Because if you get the first hit, you have the upper hand. And another tip, always keep your head where the allo is turning so it can't bounce you from the side. It has to face your horns. And I bet you they don't want to get speared by the horns. Definitely not. Even though I'm small trike, I pack a punch. I tried to get as close as possible to land the first hit, and it finally paid off. It was the tip of the tail, but nonetheless, it was the first damage. This was actually very long play of cat and mouse, so I tend to go to the bush to get some stamina. And I'm gonna edit this fight so it's not that long as it originally was, because then this video would be hour long. It took really long. Now enjoy my trash bait. Definitely intended. And then suddenly there was a second allo and I was confused because I really thought this was 1v1. We had been fighting for at least 10 minutes. Just the two of us. So I don't know where the heck that second allo came. But I was mad and I decided to disengage and go to my bush to heal the bleed. I had been bush camping for 5 minutes and only saw this original allo that attacked me. So I have a feeling the other allo was third partying and the original allo told them to piss off. Because I never saw them or heard them ever again. But I was still paranoid, thinking they would attack me from the behind or from the sides. Then the allo spoke to me. Tree dog. Trike. I was thinking, am I supposed to say something? I usually don't talk with people who are hunting me. They can talk all they want, if they so choose. After waiting for a few minutes, I decided to answer him. He had been circling in the bush, biting the air. And now he was asking how thirsty I am. Like I would tell that to him. Do you think I'm a noob? I'm not gonna tell you how much water I have. Go to water, eh? Yeah, I bet you would let me go to the water happily, just hand-holding like this was a Disney movie. I bet you would. Plus, I really didn't need water. He thought he knew trikes better. But hey, buddy, there is mutations available that can actually prolong the fights even longer. With circle adaptation and reabsorption, if you have those both, you don't really need to go to the watering hole ever. Like, if you have any plants near you, you can just get the water from them, or if it's raining, get the water from the rain. And you can pretty much, if you're a herbivore, just graze in between. I bet the both of us were getting really bored of this situation. I was getting bored of the allo being so afraid of my bush, and the allo was getting really frustrated because it couldn't drive me out of the bush. So finally I decided to get out of the bush. Otherwise we would be there still. And of course I did a trash. Even though I needed to do a headbutt, I did a trash once again. But allo doesn't do that much of bleed anymore. I wasn't really worried. As soon as my bleed healed, I decided I needed food, but I also needed to run down this allo. It had wasted a lot of stamina to bounce me. So I needed to run it down and give it a piece of my mind. The allo was definitely getting low on stamina because it started to panic. I don't know how aggressive I can be and how long I can chase a carnivore. So I decided to stop and, you know, say something factual. Never sit down in front of your enemy, by the way. Never do that. That just fuels them even more. You're showing weakness. And that's why I kept chasing it. It had the nerves to sit in front of me and ask for my bleed. You can sniff it, buddy. You can sniff if I'm bleeding. Finally, the allo decided I was too big of a bite to chew. So I give it a little chase to see it go on the other side of the hill. And then I turned around and went my merry way. As I arrived to the north finally, I saw my first bad sign. A dead trike. The sub-Rex just turned around and run away, even though I would have let it eat. I don't think we can even camp buddies, so I don't know why they ran away. But yeah, that sight got me worried. Although I was getting big. Not big enough yet though. And that was the second bad sign. Especially when the Rex got up when it saw me and started to chew on the body. I knew it was looking at me like, oh, there is our second dinner. So I decided to get the heck out of that dodge. And this is where the video also ends, because I didn't have enough time to continue this growth, because I was streaming, etc, etc. So you have to wait for part 2 and see what happens to my trike. Believe me, I got really far away before I logged out after seeing that. The north wasn't for herbivores anymore. It was a buffet for the Rexes, and the trike was the main course. So yeah, not a good place for me. Anywho guys, I hope you enjoyed. If you did, leave a like, that helps a lot. If you're not subscribed, please consider subscribing, it is completely free. Thanks for watching, see you in the next one, and moi moi!